Hey guys, and welcome back to another What If here. Today we are doing a new possible series here, which is What If Naruto Was Overpowered Part 1. And, well, yeah, a lot of yous wanted, well, not a lot of yous, but some yous in the poll wanted What If Naruto Was OP, overpowered, so somewhat here it kind of is. Naruto, it's not, well, I hope this it has somewhat three kind of other it's kind of like one, it's kind of like a single what if with three possible what ifs inside of it, which is obviously what if Naruto was somewhat strong, was somewhat trained by Kakashi at a somewhat early age, or earlier than in canon age, and overpowered. What if Naruto was trained by Kakashi, and I can't remember the last one. That anyway, yeah. So let's get into it. So Naruto would be somewhat around. Naruto somewhat be 6 years old, as for the past 2 months he had been trying to do the clone jutsu. He could do a bad transformation, he could do a bad replacement. Everyone else was bad at those too, yet everyone could do a bad clone. Yet he couldn't do a bad illusion, meaning that it was just pale or that on the floor, or just looked wrong. And yeah, it'd been somewhat 2 months, and he was somewhat frustrated. So he'd just going to go to his somewhat GG to see if there was any possible either somewhat jutsu or another way of doing it that would show him more benefits, because he was the last one to do it, and it was annoying him. So and to burst into the Hokage's office shouting GG, as he's someone look out and go, Naruto, how can this old man help you today? As the Naruto something shut the door. As he'd go, I just can't do it. As Susan would go, can't do what? Naruto. I can't do the clone jutsu. Susan would go, well, what do you mean by you can't do the clone jutsu, Naruto? I'm not expecting anyone your age to be able to somewhat actually properly do it. Naruto would somewhat clarify and go, I can do a bad transformation and a bad replacement, but I just can't do the clone jutsu. It's impossible for me to do. It feels like it's like Sensei tells me to put more chakra in, I do nothing. Tells me put less, nothing happens. I even went to the library and just to see if I was for myself if I was doing it right, and I was, and still nothing. Though it did state that if I couldn't do it, it was either due to lack of control or just too much chakra. And he's then somewhat musing with Miles something. Obviously, you'd know that for the past 2 months, they'd also been training in the leaf sticking exercise, and that Naruto, that was Naruto, Shikamaru, and Choji, which were the last 3 to do the leaf, or was somewhat the somewhat 3 that were some of the few last people to actually do it. Though still, according to somewhat Iruka, they had succeeded in doing it last week. So and it would mean that Naruto would need the tree walking or water walking exercise which would mean he had a lot of chakra, which would just mean that he'd be better off getting a sensing in to sense how much chakra Naruto actually had, and well, yeah, you could then maybe assign a sensei to give Naruto the required chakra control to be able to do the clone jutsu. If not, heck, just give him the shadow clone jutsu and still prioritize him in doing chakra control, because it would be very much required to do any other somewhat jutsu without wasting a shit ton of chakra. So Hiruzen would then somewhat call for one of his Zambus and would simply state to get one of Konoha's best sensing in here. The Anbu would just nod and would go. A minute or so later, a somewhat sensing would come in asking if the Hokage had somewhat summoned him just in case, a wild Anbu wanted to infiltrate whatever, wherever somewhere he was. Hiruzen would state that he did, and that he'd somewhat gauge a person's reserves, as some of the sensing can, most of them can't. Though this person would somewhat no, don't say hi Hokage, I can. May I ask why? As he'd go, yes, can you check Naruto-kun's, can you check, Naruto-kun, Naruto-kun's chakra reserves, as he seems to have a lot of difficulty, doing the basic clone jutsu. The, person would just somewhat nod and would go over, obviously being a chakra sensor, you somewhat was fine with Naruto. Sure, you could sense a bit of the Fox's chakra within Naruto, but that was a bit, and he knew Naruto wasn't a fox due to that. Anyway, he would somewhat ask for Naruto to somewhat hold out his hand, and that he may feel like something was either something wrong, or something was either something wrong or that. But I told him, though, it's something turned to don't worry about it, and that it was just him putting some of his chakra into him so he could actually gauge his reserves. Naruto just somewhat nod, and a couple of seconds later, and the said sensing would go wide-eyed as he'd somewhat stumble out some nonsense, as Hiruzen would tell the person to somewhat breathe. The sensing would calm down and would then state that Naruto had more chakra than you do, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen was then thinking, yep, he needs the shadow clone, and well, Kakashi, he just somewhat had released Kakashi from Anbu as well a week or so ago, and a month or so ago, as Kakashi somewhat failed his first team, and Kakashi somewhat started to become somewhat lazy in that, so he'd somewhat decide that Kakashi could be the one to teach Naruto somewhat chakra control. And so you just somewhat tell the sensing that he's dismissed now, that he can leave the person with. And he would then somewhat look at Naruto and would somewhat tell Naruto that he would have to train in chakra a lot more, but he would tell him to don't worry, and that he would find a person, a sensei, to somewhat help him in that somewhat field, which would be possibly, after class, and that Naruto would just somewhat nod, and Hiruzen would then give him a scroll and would state, and just tell him to come back once he's learnt it, and Naruto would nod. He would somewhat thank Hiruzen and would somewhat run off. Hiruzen, once Naruto leave, he would then call for one of his Zanbu and would tell them to go get Hatake Kakashi and to somewhat tell him that he wants him here right now, and that being late would put him back to Genin. So that somewhat Anbu would just nod, and quite seconds later Kakashi would reappear, looking somewhat serious, and would ask somewhat like, what did the Hokage somewhat want. Hizen would somewhat state that he would be a somewhat he'd somewhat tell somewhat explain to Kakashi's somewhat plans, and though Kakashi would somewhat clarify that he could teach Naruto whatever he wanted, though with a more main focus on chakra control. Hizen would nod, and Kakashi would somewhat seemingly be fine with that, and would ask, and would somewhat ask what Sharingan Jutsu Naruto would somewhat know, though before Hizen could respond, the door would burst right, would somewhat be thrown open again, with Naruto being there. 15 minutes had passed. Yeah, around 10 to 15 minutes had passed since Naruto had left, and yeah, Hizen would somewhat be surprised and go, Naruto, are you okay? As Naruto would nod and would go, yeah, I've got it down. Hizen would somewhat be surprised and would ask him to perform it. Naruto somewhat would, and would do the hand sign and would shout Shadow Clone Jutsu, as 5 other clones of him would appear, with the max being 5 clones for the basic Shadow Clone. Kakashi, seeing this, would somewhat amused that Naruto only knew the basic Shadow Clone, but that was more than fine. And Hizen would state that there was a more powerful version of the Shadow Clone, but he would give it to him once he became a Genin. Naruto would just nod, thinking that was somewhat fair, and yeah, he'd somewhat then ask who this person was, as he would hand over the scroll, though before that he'd ask Hizen what memory transfer meant. After Hizen explaining that to Naruto, Hizen would then introduce Naruto to Kakashi, and introduce both to one another. And yeah, he would somewhat then tell that they were both dismissed and to get to know one another. With that, 4 years would go by, as Naruto would be somewhat 3 or 4 years, around about 4ish, somewhat 3 years, as Naruto would be 9 years old, as it would be his first attempt at graduation, and his only one, as he'd been trained by Kakashi Hatake, Kakashi the Copycat Ninja, and Kakashi the Sharingan. And yeah, Kakashi had mainly taught Naruto obviously chakra control, but he had also helped Naruto in somewhat getting down the transformation, replacement, and also showed him the Senshin, as it was just a nice jutsu to somewhat know, very easy and somewhat quick to learn, very easy to learn, but can be quite a pain to actually get down, though Naruto had somewhat shown his skills in getting it down within minutes, or a couple of seconds at that, which would just, and yeah, Kakashi somewhat thinking that Naruto was some type of just hidden, somewhat no prodigy, like some type of maybe genius or that, as jutsus came incredibly easy to him. And yeah, though yeah, and if you're like, but Naruto only failed somewhat 3 times, and that the first one, that the one we see is his first time failing. Well, don't really know. It's only stated beforehand that Naruto had failed 3 times, which means Naruto being a couple months obviously younger than the rest, with the rest being 13, Naruto being 12. That would mean Naruto had somewhat failed first at 9, then 10, then 11. or for his somewhat for the actual academy age, that'd be 10, 11, and 12, with some of his academy classmates being 13 and Naruto being 12. So yeah, with probably the most being 13, with Naruto and maybe 1 or 2, 3 or 4 more people, maybe a bit more, being 12 years old still. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so Naruto would actually end up somewhat graduating. Well, yeah, Naruto would easily somewhat graduate. After all, who his somewhat sensei and somewhat sensei was. And yeah, from there, somewhat Naruto, they would somewhat come back into where we would somewhat hear the teams as the person would go, interesting. Team 7 will somewhat, Naruto would hear in Team 7, no, Kakashi was somewhat, generally always stayed with, always they trained in Training Ground 7, so Team 7 would mean Kakashi's team. As he would somewhat hear his own name, as the person would say Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto would wait for anybody else, but wouldn't hear nobody else's name, as he would then proceed to hear Team 8, and then Team 9, and possibly even Team 10, and whatever. Naruto would somewhat be a bit surprised that he got Kakashi all to himself, though there was definitely some big reason why. And yeah, an hour later, with obviously somewhat meant for the somewhat now possible getting to get to know each other, Naruto, already knowing himself, would just decide to somewhat make a clone, just for the somewhat laugh, as and there's somewhat Sharingan had walked out with said somewhat tuning, realizing that Naruto had made a Sharingan, and had thought that Naruto graduating 3 years early was a somewhat good thing for kind of Konoha, as if he could already perform the Shadow Clone, then he was at least high tuning, maybe low journeying, though Kakashi had somewhat leveled Naruto at mid tuning, low to mid tuning. So yeah. Anyway, and so after the hour, Kakashi would be the first to actually come and obviously pick up Naruto, with somewhat the both sending over to Training Ground 7, and Naruto would ask how comes, like he didn't want to get a team, and it was only him, him. Kakashi would then somewhat let us sigh and would go, "You're probably not going to be happy," as Naruto would just start Kakashi, as he now had a slight bad feeling about this, as Kakashi then perceived to start explaining, so flashback to somewhat a couple of hours after the graduation exam, with Naruto obviously passing that. Hizen had already, had somewhat come up with the somewhat of the Genin team, as he told somewhat them that this is how he believes it would somewhat be, though there is still a day or so to somewhat probably obviously so some may not exactly want to say that team, and may trade teams or something like that, which was somewhat fine. They'd somewhat nod, and once having left, they'd still see Kakashi there, as Kakashi would somewhat ask Hizen once having been left if it was wise for him to have 4 Genin and not just 3. Hizen would state that he would have just given him 3, but due to Naruto graduating early, he had to add in, and there was no other, there wasn't 2 other people that graduated early as well, so yeah, and no team needed, no team at the moment, had a spot for a, had a spot for a Genin, so yeah, though Kakashi then somewhat, Naruto then somewhat think for a bit as he would then somewhat ask how about he has Naruto to himself, but say for at least 3 years, and that during those 3 years Naruto cannot say take the genin exams and thus become a chunin or be promoted to chunin if not jonin, and that they'd still be able to do C, B, A, and possibly even S rank missions if Naruto gets that strong. Though Kakashi doubted Naruto would probably get any stronger than maybe doing a somewhat maybe like at the borderline in 3 years, well probably borderline A rank Kakashi somewhat thought Naruto could possibly be at. And here's somewhat think about that as Kakashi and obviously though Hizen would somewhat ask why 3 years, as Kakashi would say Naruto would somewhat graduate 3 years early, and so as such waiting 3 years would allow, say that obviously say think that is somewhat actual graduating class, that he would have to go finding an extra person for say whoever ends up with like 2 genin, and that he could take the 2 extra genin obviously somewhat with Naruto, and then they could then somewhat go do some obviously tuning exams and that D team would overall be somewhat stronger because they would have the aid of Naruto to help get them somewhat stronger. Thus, they'd be able to take somewhat stronger missions faster. Here's a somewhat think about this and would somewhat agree. With Hiruzen, with Kakashi. And thus agreeing with that, he would then somewhat tell Kakashi to somewhat tell Naruto to stop by. Though Kakashi would somewhat just say, why don't you just wait until once Naruto finds out that I'm his genin sensei. Hizen would just somewhat would shrug and just say, well, okay then. Naruto would somewhat just Kakashi and would go, why, that's unfair, how can I have to wait? As Kakashi would go, well, it was either that and, hey, I got a somewhat sweetish still, we have to do a month of D ranks, and then after that we can do our first C rank mission, or would you rather wait, I don't know, a year, do a year of D ranks? So just Naruto go, well, what are, and Kakashi would come up about somewhat cut him off / answering the slightly unanswered question, and say that D ranks are chores. They are pretty much just they are just labelled missions. That's somewhat chores that other people are too lazy to do. Nature's mouth would somewhat hang open in surprise, shock, and slight anger as he would then begrudgingly sigh and would somewhat agree with Kakashi that was a good thing to do. And so from there a year would go by with them doing so many somewhat D rank. In that year they had done around 20 C ranks, with the main of the C ranks being so many was due to the simple fact that they were somewhat 1 to 2-ish week long missions. So missions that took 1 to 2 weeks to complete. Though there were some that took a month to somewhat do, and the occasional, and they had done somewhat. And from there they had done somewhat 6. From there, Kakashi, yeah, though Kakashi somewhat thought that Naruto, or well, yeah, him and Naruto, slash somewhat just Naruto was ready to have his somewhat first official B rank, as well they'd done a couple. So he'd go to the Hokage's office as not office, to the sort of mission room, as it would be that, as it would be, some of the day of the graduation, the somewhat graduation where Naruto would somewhat be or Naruto's 1 year mark would be in, as Kakashi would then somewhat ask Hiruzen would then go, Kakashi, Naruto, I've seen you're here for a somewhat C-rank mission. As Kakashi go, no, Hokage-sama, I believe Naruto and I are somewhat ready to somewhat have a B rank. Hiruzen would somewhat be surprised and go, are you sure, Kakashi? Kakashi would somewhat nod and go, hi Hokage-sama, plus we've already done a couple of C ranks, B ranks. Hiruzen would somewhat think, but couldn't quite remember how many they'd actually somewhat done, so he'd ask, he'd somewhat ask one of the Anbu to go fetch Naruto's somewhat mission record. The Anbu would, and a couple seconds later would return with Naruto's somewhat mission record, as Hiruzen would then go, yes, I do believe you are ready for a B rank, as after all you've done 6 B ranks. Yeah, most of them were somewhat doing the 1 to 2, like somewhat weak C ranks, them being from C to B. So yeah, though luckily no A's. And yeah, also Naruto and Kakashi's first C rank was a bandit mission. It was just a small bandit camp of 10 people where Naruto and Kakashi had somewhat slain half of them. Kakashi killed 5, Naruto killed 5. Yeah. Anyway, back to present-ish. From there, Kakashi, they would somewhat take the mission, and Kakashi would somewhat, would take the mission, it being a somewhat the kind of a somewhat goodish B rank starter mission. Well, yeah. And yeah, from there another year would go by as Kakashi doing those somewhat doing that obviously year besides from now doing somewhat more more obviously mainly now B ranks with the occasional C rank, so mainly C and B's with obviously training thrown in. Kakashi had also Naruto had somewhat stated that Kakashi had somewhat tell Naruto that he somewhat had a bit of a surprise for him. And Naruto had somewhat stated that he also had something he wanted to show Kakashi. So yeah, though Kakashi would somewhat ask Naruto where they may, what this, though Naruto would state that it was a jutsu, so Training Ground 7. Kakashi would somewhat just nod and state to just somewhat be here at Training Ground 7. And yeah, the next day, it'd be that as Kakashi would somewhat somewhat state that Kakashi would somewhat tell Naruto that he'd somewhat asked his somewhat obviously his somewhat summoning contract, his dogs, the ones he's got a summoning contract with. Kakashi said that he'd asked them around a couple months ago if they'd be somewhat willing to maybe have a second summoner. And after, a lot of thinking on their part, they've actually agreed to somewhat have you as a summoner. Naruto would be somewhat surprised and with somewhat Kakashi then somewhat hand Naruto would then somewhat place a massive scroll or some big scroll on the ground and unroll it, stating telling Naruto to bite his thumb until it bleeds and write his name down in the blood. Naruto would do so, and Kakashi then tell him to dab all four fingers and his thumb and put it on the on the scroll under his name. Naruto would and Kakashi then somewhat roll it up, and after somewhat that, Kakashi then somewhat show Naruto how to do the hand signs, though he would tell Naruto that the last one was to bite his thumb and smear it over his hand and slam it on the ground. Naruto would nod, and he would somewhat do so after practicing the hand signs for a little bit, and would somewhat, and yeah, on his first try, he'd somewhat be able to summon Pakun. And yeah, Kakashi, and a couple of minutes somewhat late, after a bit of talking with somewhat Pakun, Kakashi summoning the somewhat dog that generally protected the scroll, giving it back to him. Said dog then disappeared disappeared back to the place they lived. And Pakun then obviously somewhat reverse summon himself back as well, though telling Naruto to obviously feel free to summon them at any time, and that are always willing to somewhat help. Naruto somewhat thank them, and Kakashi would then ask once Pakun was dispelled what Naruto was wanted shown. Naruto would remember and would then go, the jutsu right, as Naruto would then do a hand sign, as Kakashi somewhat realised hand signs go, somewhat just think that was the transformation jutsu. Naruto would shout transform, and once the smoke was cleared, Kakashi would somewhat go wide-eyed, as there in front of him was a somewhat long, yellow-haired, bright blue eyes, whiskered, marked girl, naked, in front of him, as Kakashi somewhat, he was slightly gulp or that, as he could somewhat feel something in his pants, in his trousers, growing and getting hard. Yeah, Naruto somewhat being Naruto, somewhat see that and would somewhat think to play a bit of a prank on him, as Naruto would somewhat walk up slowly, as Kakashi somewhat very much struggling to keep his eyes somewhat focused, his eye on directly at Naruto's eye, as he really just wanted to look downwards for obvious reasons. Though he'd managed to somewhat keep his eye focused on Naruto, and Naruto then somewhat once close enough would then wrap his hands somewhat around Kakashi and bring in somewhat Kakashi or him into somewhat breath, and eventually Kakashi somewhat reach his limit, as he would then end up going flying backwards with a bloody nose. Naruto would then somewhat burst out laughing, stating that it worked. Naruto may be getting stronger, but he's still going to be his normal, loving, somewhat pranking self. And yeah, though, just before he'd release the jutsu, he'd somewhat feel his heart was somewhat slightly racing, though he'd wonder a bit why, as he then somewhat proceeded to release the transformation. A couple minutes after that, Kakashi would come back to, and yeah, he would somewhat he'd send a slight glare at Naruto, who would just somewhat chuckle a bit, as Kakashi would then ask, why on earth he transformed into a girl. As Naruto somewhat called, though Naruto would state that he called it his somewhat sexy jutsu. And Naruto would then ask if he wanted to see the somewhat better version, though Kakashi would somewhat think about it for a couple of seconds and would then shake his head as you could think of what the better version was. So yeah, though that did somewhat bring an idea to somewhat him, because while he'd been, the training with somewhat Naruto over the somewhat 6 years almost that he'd been obviously training Naruto, that he'd slowly obviously been losing his somewhat obviously skill. He was once borderline S rank, now he was probably at least mid to high A rank. So yeah, as he'd somewhat muse, maybe he could ask, well, there's only really somewhat one person he could really think of, his somewhat a person who he used to be a leader of when he was in Anbu, this person being Kat, aka Yugo, and somewhat mused that he could somewhat ask her if she was somewhat willing to train Naruto in seduction, and and if she would, and Kakashi would somewhat think, if she was also, and if she wanted to say train Naruto in Kenjutsu or that, and yeah, and obviously he'd be fine with it, though he'd tell her to make sure that Naruto was fine with learning Kenjutsu, the art of the sword, before trying to obviously make him learn it. Yeah, so yeah. Though Kakashi would somewhat state that was kind of somewhat all for today. Well, no, though they'd somewhat train for today. And he would somewhat tell Naruto to arrive somewhat tomorrow, and he may have a different sensei tomorrow, though Naruto would ask why, and was Kakashi going on a mission. Kakashi would somewhat shake his head, stating no, and Naruto he'd somewhat amuse, and he'd somewhat go, well, I guess you could say mission if you mean by me, say, somewhat training myself to get stronger again. Naruto just sort of go, but you already are strong. Kakashi would go, well, maybe, but I'm weaker than what I used to, and I'm still in my prime, Naruto, and I'm weaker than myself that used to be in Anbu. Naruto would be somewhat surprised, though he'd just somewhat nod and ask how long it'd be. Kakashi would state, well, somewhat at least for maybe for the last 2 weeks of the month. Naruto just nod, and yeah, next day he'd arrive, and I know, though before that, Kakashi and Yugao's thing, but yeah, Kakashi, after somewhat, after obviously somewhat training and telling Naruto that, he'd then somewhat send Shin to, over to the somewhat Anbu lounge to see if we could find somewhat Yugao anywhere. Though after a bit of looking around, he'd find her and would somewhat ask if she's somewhat free at the moment, because he wanted to ask get help on something if she's willing to. She'd somewhat say sure what it was, and Kakashi then somewhat just plainly state to somewhat teach one of his genin to teach a genin of his something. Should ask what that something was, and Kakashi would state somewhat seduction. Should think it over for a bit, and would somewhat go, well, what are you going to do with your other two genin? Kakashi would state that he only actually had one, and that if she accepts training his genin, he would he'd somewhat go off training himself to somewhat try and get back to his old strength, his borderline S rank. And he then asked, though Kakashi would then somewhat, would then somewhat quickly remember and would say that, oh yeah, and he'd say, boy, I should just somewhat stand Kakashi, as she'd say, you want me to teach a boy how to seduce other boys? Kakashi would go, yeah, as he was somewhat thinking, well, isn't it obvious? Transformation. Yeah, though she'd somewhat ask this again and a third time, and Kakashi would somewhat find out that she wasn't getting there and would say, he could do transformation with her somewhat just stand at Kakashi, as Kakashi would go, well, this person, Naruto, who I somewhat would like you to teach them how to do, well, how to somewhat seduce, has enough chakra to, say, somewhat leave him in the transformation for at least a month, if not longer. As well as the transformation is a somewhat easy duty to perform, it does take a lot of chakra to allow for any meaningful amount of time. That's why most Genin, Chunin, and Jonin don't really use it to get any real use out of it. Requires a shit ton of chakra, something Naruto greatly has, due to being a half Uzumaki and having half of the nine-tailed fox, aka Kurama. Yeah. Though she'd somewhat just and go, well, what do I get out of it? As Kakashi then somewhat stated, well, you can train that in in any one thing you want, as long as, he's willing to train in that. I should then go at anything like, as Kakashi go, yes, anything like, Kenjutsu or anything like that. Though, should somewhat, think for a moment, I should then go, should then would somewhat then agree to somewhat take Naruto on, as having someone she could pass down her skills to would somewhat be nice. And so the next day she'd arrive with obviously Kakashi there. A couple seconds later, Naruto would arrive and Kakashi would introduce Naruto and Hyuga to one another, as Kakashi then state what Naruto would be, what Hyuga would somewhat be training Naruto in. Though Naruto not really knowing what seduction was, would just somewhat nod, thinking maybe it was some type of fighting style or something like that. And I guess, well, in a very odd way, would it be considered a fighting style in a way? Because you are still in a way being able to kill a person, so I guess, well, up to you guys. Tell me in the comments down below if you believe it could technically fall under a fighting style or not. Anyway, Kakashi then somewhat sent away, and 2 weeks would go by with Naruto learning how to do, how to just seduce people and that, and and of course the first time after seeing Kakashi in 2 weeks, they would obviously be back at the training ground, Unit Training 7, at their usual 8:30 time. As Naruto then somewhat would ask if Kakashi wanted to see you, what he'd somewhat learned. Kakashi thinking Naruto would show him something that, would somewhat would just nod, not really thinking quite clearly, because he'd somewhat gotten up around half an hour ago, so he wasn't quite thinking clearly, so he'd quickly wake up when there'd be a puff smoke, and thankfully this time around Naruto wouldn't transform into a naked woman, though Naruto would still be a woman, just not naked. And yeah, though Naruto would somewhat walk over in a somewhat a seductive walk, and yeah, Kakashi would somewhat and like the last time his body was fixated in pure somewhat stunness at Naruto's boldness transforming into a naked woman. This time it was more so out of almost somewhat seductiveness. Though, and after a minute or so, Kakashi would still end up passing out, with obviously his member still somewhat getting hard, and yeah. And yeah, though once Kakashi walking up once again, he'd somewhat though they would somewhat talk for a bit more, and yeah, Naruto would state that Yugal may somewhat would possibly be around maybe sometime later on midday to somewhat speak to him about like something else, though he wasn't 100% sure, he couldn't quite remember. Kakashi just somewhat nodded and was somewhat thinking maybe it had to do with Kenjutsu or something. And yeah, and so yeah, and she would end up somewhat talking with Kakashi, and a week would somewhat go by as Naruto somewhat had somewhat started to get some training in actual Kenjutsu, as you guys mainly focused in actual jutsu. Naruto had to somewhat seduce and act somewhat more feminine when transformed as a woman. And yeah. And though today it would be somewhat, though we'd see Kakashi and Yugal talking with the Hokage, as Yugal somewhat believe that Naruto may be somewhat ready for an actual seductive mission, and that Naruto would somewhat need the actual somewhat practice in it. And he was somewhat after a lot of somewhat back and forth, did somewhat end up sighing and would somewhat say fine, though Naruto would obviously have to be with Yugal, though I'd state that was somewhat obvious. And yeah, and anyway, though she'd end up and after somewhat giving her a somewhat scroll, as they'd be in his office, she'd nod, and she'd then somewhat go. They'd then somewhat arrive to the Dragon Cavern, where Naruto would somewhat be waiting for them for around 5 or so minutes. Naruto would ask why they were late, and I would ask why Kakashi was late, and would somewhat wonder, and would probably ask why I was here, and Yuga would somewhat proceed to tell Naruto, and yeah, Naruto somewhat a bit excited, and also somewhat a bit obviously nervous and scared to get a actual seductive mission. Though Naruto would ask what Kakashi would do in the time being when they would be off, and Kakashi would state that he would just be training like general to get his strength back up, which he slowly was doing. Naruto would just nod, and after that 10 or so, 15-20 minutes with somewhat Yuga and Naruto somewhat spent somewhat in a couple of shops, more so because Naruto may be able to transform into a woman. She at least wanted to make sure that Naruto's clothes weren't just chakra. So yeah, anyway, after getting somewhat 2 sets of the same clothing, just in case obviously blood came over it. They would then end up, someone leaving 20 minutes later, and once they'd somewhat arrive, they would, somewhat obviously tell Nato what, that the person would clearly seem to have more, dick than brains, and that just meant that it was somewhat an easy, somewhat seduction, and that, obviously, that once seduced would mainly, obviously, somewhat tell Nato, and would somewhat tell, them the information that they somewhat want, though someone Nato would nod, and after somewhat seducing and getting the information, which would, Nato would somewhat come back to her and would somewhat tell her, as Zuko would then somewhat decide to, would somewhat tell Nato that he would have to somewhat or she at the moment would have to kill him somewhat tomorrow. Nato would ask somewhat how, because, public somewhat space. Somewhat state that someone would have to entice him with the somewhat of the somewhat invitation of sex, which Nato somewhat gulp as, well, he hadn't exactly gone that far yet, obviously. Though she'd somewhat tell Nato to obviously not worry, and that you'd be killing him before his thing gets in you. Well, in between your legs, very much so. Nato somewhat nod, and the next day, Nato once again, after a couple of hours, person would somewhat appear back in the same place after some seduction once again, and inviting to having sex. Nato, they would somewhat end up leaving with the person, telling Nato even more, which Nato somewhat thought was a good thing, that they would be killing this person. And though the person once they'd get back to the person's apartment, the person would somewhat state that maybe they should wash first, so they were somewhat obviously clean, and that Nato would somewhat just shrug, and the person would go first. Then once he was somewhat out, Nato would go in, or you get undressed and actually somewhat have a bit of a shower, and would then somewhat obviously walk out, somewhat with a kunai behind, with one hand behind somewhat a back. Those who'd somewhat walked out with both hands just behind their back, as the person was somewhat already laying on the bed with his thing very much big, rich. And considering Nato had somewhat had managed to glimpse the person actually holding his thing, which had meant he'd actually personally got it somewhat ready for them while she was somewhat in the shower. Though Nato could feel his somewhat heart just pounding, though he'd allow this sigh as he was somewhat ready, as he would walk over and would straddle the person, and somewhat slow, and with the only somewhat free hand would hold his somewhat dick upwards, as she would slowly somewhat come down, looking at the person though, and just before somewhat the person's dick would touch the somewhat vagina, she'd pull her left arm out and stab him right through the heart. The person would be completely surprised and would die with a somewhat surprised, very somewhat shocked and surprised look. And Naruto somewhat just quickly get up and was somewhat panting heavily as before he'd obviously killed many times before. He'd killed over 100 times now yet. Why was this time a lot harder than all the rest? Heck, it felt like it was harder than his first time, which is why he'd killed 5 people when that had fully set in. This time it was like he'd killed 50 people, if not 500, 5,000, 5 million. He wasn't sure, it just felt it was a lot harder. It just made him feel a lot somewhat worse than killing generally does. So someone quickly have a shower after that to wash off all the somewhat blood that had got on her, and would obviously clean kunai somewhat, get quickly, well, after getting the person's head off, pushing that away and getting dressed, would somewhat then walk out, and that would then somewhat, though then would obviously somewhat see it was Naruto was somewhat struggling, and state that it was hard, wasn't it? Which Naruto would somewhat nod as she then then somewhat throw her arms around someone to anyone else who just looked like two girls cuddling, though two somewhat 20-ish-year-old girls cuddling, though very much knew under the transformation of a young early 20s-year-old girl was a 12-year-old boy. 11-year-old boy. And she'd somewhat always cuddle and would stay, and after somewhat helping out to possibly somewhat mainly through a lot of it, though she'd obviously tell Kakashi that Naruto's slightly struggling to deal with what he'd somewhat done, because killing on a somewhat mission on the normal, say, C, B and A rank missions, this being a somewhat A rank, though all seductions are A rank missions. Naruto obviously, is someone kill or be killed, whilst here, it somewhat wasn't, and that Naruto was someone killing for the possible sake of the person doing worse things in the future, and that thus made it a lot harder to someone deal with. Anyway, though, they then obviously go back, only spending around 3 days. They'd only been gone 2 to 3 days, and with them arriving back, being it somewhat night, they would report that they then go to sleep the next day. Before Naruto would meet up with Kakashi, meet up with Kakashi and explain to Kakashi. Kakashi would just nod, and when Naruto would somewhat meet up with Kakashi, they'd somewhat talk a bit about it. And Kakashi also obviously been there to somewhat help Naruto through that somewhat type of killing. Though Kakashi knew that in around a week to 2 weeks, Naruto would somewhat have to do it again to make sure that he truly was over it and could actually somewhat do it. Plus, he may or may not have somewhat made an agreement with Yuga for at least this past and final year to maybe every 3 months to say somewhat trade Naruto. So it'd be 3 months for him to train and do missions with Naruto, then the other 3 months would be obviously somewhat her possibly train Naruto in Kenjutsu and obviously doing somewhat seduction missions and that. The more Kunoichi-esque B and somewhat A rank missions. And yeah, and well, yeah, 2 weeks later, and Naruto would be once again doing another somewhat similar seduction mission, with them getting the somewhat information, though Naruto, instead of going to Yugao this time, knowing somewhat what Yugao would state to what would classify as kill now, and somewhat leave for maybe a potential later kill. Naruto would somewhat decide that this person had to die now, so Naruto would then somewhat end up somewhat doing some stuff which to Yugao would indicate that Naruto was going to kill this person now, which meant that the information she'd somewhat got was to that this person should die now and not later on. And yeah, the person would somewhat obviously would accept Naruto somewhat invite to having sex, and would actually end up somewhat throwing, though, when they'd got back to the person's place where the person was staying, would immediately somewhat push Naruto on the bed, which would somewhat put Naruto in a state of just shock, slightly somewhat shock and stunned, as whilst Yugao had obviously told him, being told and told what to expect, and actually having it done was two different things. So yeah, though the shock only lasted 2 to 3 somewhat seconds, though that was long enough for the person to pull down his somewhat trousers and boxers, and even at his own she was somewhat wearing, and though her hand would somewhat go to her somewhat kunai pouch, her right hand would go to her kunai pouch as the person, just as somewhat the tip of the person's dick, Naruto could actually feel the person's somewhat dick, or at least the tip of it, as the tip was pretty much right on her vagina, as the kunai would go into the person's heart, as the person would be somewhat shocked, and would then obviously somewhat almost fall limp, though she'd somewhat use the kunai to push even more so, and would somewhat throw the person somewhat off the bed almost. And after a couple of somewhat deep breaths to calm down, she'd then cut the person's head off, seal it away, get undressed, have a quick shower to wash off all the blood that someone sprayed on her and her hands, and kunai as well, of blood, and and after putting on the spare set of clothes, she somewhat carried around. She then somewhat leave, and and after obviously telling Yugao somewhat what had happened, Yugao just somewhat nod, and from there though, Kakashi, and Kakashi somewhat would then somewhat start with Kakashi taking off last 3 months. And Kakashi didn't quite believe that Naruto was actually ready for A rank missions, though even though Naruto may be able to take A rank, the somewhat obviously seduction missions which were A rank, he didn't believe Naruto was quite ready yet for an actual A rank mission, so they'd keep on doing a couple B ranks, though though of course though after obviously somewhat that, it would then go over to somewhat Yugao then having Naruto, and well, she somewhat for that. Well, no, she then somewhat asked for a slightly more harder seduction mission, with these somewhat harder ones being more likely to require sex. Though Hizumi somewhat tell her that for him to give her any harder ones for somewhat Naruto, that she'd have to actually Naruto would actually have to firstly have that in a controlled environment, so he knew what to expect. If it's just a normal, naturally born, obviously Galkanichi, then after 5 or so somewhat low somewhat seduction missions, Hizumi granted that. So yeah, and yeah, with that, a month and roughly, around a somewhat month and somewhat 2 weeks would go by, with Naruto getting somewhat used to with Naruto getting used to doing it finally. And yeah, Naruto then somewhat do it for the first time, and thus I'm going to speed on through with a couple of months later, though the months would go by, and finally today was the day in which he and Kakashi would meet the team. That's somewhat the 2 other genin that would be put on their team. Naruto, of course, or at least a couple of days ago when the genin exams were somewhat going on, Naruto was somewhat hoping that he didn't get Sasuke and Sakura too, because to his knowledge, they were, well, Sasuke obviously was somewhat an arrogant, somewhat jerk, and obviously he'd lost his crush on Sakura, and as well as that, pretty much all the girls in this class were fangirls, and he was like, oh, but what's her name? Hinata isn't. Well, Hinata somewhat is. She's just not a vocal one, with Hinata stalking Naruto. She might not be vocal, but she definitely stalks people, especially Naruto. Well, she only stalks Naruto. And, of course, she'd been actually and she'd even been arrested at least maybe once for stalking him since he'd become a genin. Naruto somewhat, though he was somewhat happy, because now that he's now obviously 3 years as a genin, he'd finally be able to somewhat be promoted to Chunin, or more than likely now Jonin has, for at least the past somewhat 6 months of missions with Kakashi. Kakashi had somewhat decided that Naruto was indeed, I'd finally somewhat realised, not realised, but I'd finally decided that Naruto was somewhat ready for A rank missions, and the first one was easy, surprisingly easy for an A rank mission. Though then again, it was borderline A rank. It was, like a high B rank, low A rank. So yeah, it would be somewhat easy. Though, and they'd just gotten back. Somewhat 3 days from when the Genin exams were going to happen. 3 days before the Genin exams happened, they'd gotten back from their last A rank mission, which Kakashi took Naruto on pretty much the day Naruto somewhat arrived in the arrived at the their somewhat training grounds, or team number 7's training ground. Kakashi somewhat went, yes, A rank mission, let's go. Let's go, as they just somewhat went to Kakashi, to Hiuzen, and Hiuzen stated that the only A rank mission he actually had was a long a somewhat long-term one. Kakashi, though he was in somewhat state, while long-ish time, it was around 3 months long. So, yeah, they obviously somewhat took it. And, yeah. Yeah. Also, obviously, not all the missions Naruto took whilst training under Yugal was, well, not all the missions were seduction missions. Though they're also different, obviously, kinds from the somewhat, well, no. Yeah, not all, obviously, all the missions were seduction. Yeah, most of them maybe were, say 55 to 60% of them were, though the others were, say what, like more so, like kind of just somewhat C ranks. Yeah, so like, say being hired to work, say for maybe a week or so in a, say somewhat say in a restaurant or a somewhat dance club or dance club, nightclub, even strip club, or casino missions also they somewhat took. Yeah. Anyway, though, yeah. Though currently we would see Naruto and Kakashi on the roof of the academy. Why the roof? Well, because Kakashi wanted to be late. How late? Well, somewhat 3 hours late, because, hey, why not, whilst he couldn't be late to somewhat anything to do with Naruto, he could at least somewhat be late here, though Kakashi would somewhat, just come, well, yeah, would just, somewhat tell Naruto that, you just, for some old time's sake, though, Naruto would somewhat be a bit confused, and Kakashi would somewhat just tell him to somewhat not mind that he won't actually, start becoming late all of a sudden, that he'd only do this for this and the actual somewhat gaining exams. The somewhat second part, though, Naruto would ask if he would have to take part with Kakashi, telling him that he would not, due to the fact he's already a genin and of course somewhat under its control, so it'd be stupid for him to, go from being a genin for 3 years to be then shipped back to the academy. So, yeah, Naruto would just go, yeah. And yeah, 3 hours later, Kakashi somewhat sunshine down. A couple of seconds later, Kakashi would appear back up with then a 2 to 3 minutes later, Sasuke and Sakura somewhat arriving with somewhat of them both. Sasuke would somewhat, just somewhat starting Naruto as he'd go. As it just somewhat just like that, it seems like the dead last, didn't man that, you just simply state that, that graduating early was seemingly the only thing that he was good at, that he wasn't, promoted at all. Though Kakashi would somewhat just think to himself, well, if I hadn't somewhat asked Hosen to only give us a month of D ranks and then a C rank, then Naruto probably would very much be a Jonin by now, but I'm not gonna say that. Because Kakashi didn't have to, because Naruto very much knew he could very much have been Naruto somewhat thought that he'd possibly be maybe, tuning to maybe special Jonin. Yeah. As Kakashi was dismissing, special Jonin, going straight to Jonin, the only reason why special Jonin exists is due to the fact that Jonin's their main requirement, besides on being all their somewhat skills that they're obviously trained in to be Jonin, they're also meant to have some basic, very, very basic knowledge of Genjutsu. and obviously very good leadership skills. Leadership skills being the main thing, and that if you don't have any leadership skills, you'll be classified as a special jonin until you can get your lead skills up to a satisfied point, where then you go from being a special jonin to a jonin, full-fledged one, where then you can proceed to then, if wanted to then take a team of 3 genin when the genin exams come around. Yeah. And though Kakashi then somewhat state to introduce themselves. So Sakura would ask, somewhat what I mean by that, and Kakashi just stay at home and go, I don't know, your likes, dislikes. Yeah, your likes, your name, your likes, your dislikes, your hobbies and dream for the future, maybe. As Sakura somewhat slightly lesson and then ask Kakashi once again to, why don't you go first then, Sensei? And Naruto would somewhat think, damn, she really is stupid, Databayo. Kakashi would somewhat just say as he'd somewhat go, fine, and while his introduction would somewhat be the same, Naruto would follow a similar cue to Kakashi's own one being somewhat vague. And though he'd then obviously somewhat point at Sakura would finally do her introduction, stating that, obviously she hates somewhat Eno Pig. And, and pretty much that she just wanted to pretty much be raped by or have sex with Sasuke, which Naruto somewhat just shake his head, as he really had to be on a team with a damned fangirl. And Sasuke's one would also be the same in canon. And Sasuke had tried to graduate early, though he was in after Naruto had somewhat graduated, had somewhat put into effect that no more could a genin somewhat graduate early, due to the fact that they should somewhat obviously go through the somewhat system and actually get the knowledge, or at least they could, but it was only somewhat a year before their class, as the last year was only somewhat used to refine somewhat their chakra control over the leaf exercise and over the clone transformation and replacement jutsu. So if they were somewhat top of the class, they could go, but dead last could not and would continue onwards, even if said dead last would anyway. Though obviously while somewhat doing that, Kakashi would somewhat pay slightly attention. Anyway, though Kakashi would somewhat then, after somewhat that, and after a bit of somewhat musingly, then started chuckling as Sakura asked what was funny, as Kakashi somewhat state that that she didn't really want to know, though she'd say, what is it, what's so funny? As she'd somewhat start getting angry, as Kakashi sort of go, fine, well, out of 27 people with 66% of views will fail and go back to the academy, meaning there will only be 3 teams, 9 people that will pass, will truly become genin. That would surprise Sasuke and somewhat Sakura, as Sakura somewhat stand up saying that they can't do that, with Kakashi just somewhat going, well, I can and I will. And though Kakashi would somewhat state to meeting tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock at training ground 7. Though Naruto would ask if he should somewhat be there, though Kakashi would state that he didn't somewhat have to, as it wasn't, he wasn't obviously seeing if he should be, gaining Naruto, just someone nod, and it just meant that he got, well, that he'd probably be somewhat possibly off with maybe Yu-Gao on a mission or that, maybe. If not, maybe a solo mission. He didn't know though. He doubtful he'd be able to do a solo mission. Anyway though, and guys, if you have enjoyed this part, I'm gonna end it here. So yeah, guys, if you have enjoyed this, tell me in the comments down below, but yeah, and of course, if you enjoy it so much, you can tell me in the comments. Well, yeah, if you enjoy it so much, you can very much like it if you want to, and tell me guys in the comments down below if you want a part 2 to this. And yeah, guys, stay safe, have a good day or night, depending on wherever you are and whenever you watch this. Stay safe and good. Bye.